Ultrakill's first weapon isn't exactly known for being good. In fact, quite the opposite. It's regarded as one of the worst weapons in the game. But if you wanted to beat the entire game using just the default piercer, you could do that pretty easily if you've played the game for some amount of time. But what if you wanted to do that in under an hour? Well, that is a much more difficult challenge. Now we start off our challenge in O-1, we pick up our first and only weapon for the run, and one of the first things you'll realise is I still have my arms. For this challenge, I'm allowing myself to use all three of the arms because they're different to the weapons. After immediately skipping the opening intro, I jump straight into the nearest wall and clip out the map, because I know what I'm doing sometimes. Pipe clip lets us skip the entire first level, only having to deal with the Maurice at the end, and we can immediately move on to O-2. Now you'd think, because I know how to do pipe clip, I'm obviously going to do updoor, because I know No, I'm actually like pretty bad at updoor. I know how to do it, I just suck at it, so I decided it would probably be faster if I just played the level normally, and I think I made the right choice there. I kinda suck at updoor. O-3 is really simple. You break the glass, you slam you slam storage up to the top, and then you kill Swords Machine. Nothing fancy, just don't pick up the shotgun, dumbass. Nothing happened in O-4, so we are skipping straight to Cerberus, where the only notable thing is I'm playing on Brutal. Which means that they would be pretty difficult using just the default piercer, except I don't go outside. So I beat them first try. I need to touch a tree or something. With all that said and done, getting past Prelude took me an eye-watering 5 minutes. Took me 5 minutes to get through these levels. Really didn't take that long, don't worry. It'll start taking a lot longer once the levels get bigger, don't you worry about that. I don't care about anything that happened in 1-1, all I need to care about are these fucking drones. Dude, do you know how annoying these drones are on Brutal? Okay, I'm like a fraud, I'm a faker. I use coins to hide the fact that I can't aim to save my life, and you're telling me I gotta hit these drones twice? This is going to become a reoccurring thing of me missing the drones throughout the entire game, so just get used to it now, accept the fact that I suck at the video game, and we're going to move on to 1-2. 1-2 wins the award of Worst Song in the Game. Yes, I have to mention that in every video. Anyway, what this level actually did was kill me. No, I'm serious, I died. I am not used to just leaving all of the enemies in the first room to just roam around and mingle, and it kind of caught me off guard when I went back there put the blue skull down. I wasn't expecting it. Other than that, it's a pretty standard level. We're not into anything too serious just yet. So we're moving right on to the longest level in the game, 1-3. And it's over already. You just used the soap. Those of you paying attention might have realized that I don't have the marksman. So I can't cheese V2 like I do in every single video I make. I have to actually fight him. Ugh. You know, the V2 fight, it's nothing too fancy. Most of the damage in this fight comes from parrying because, come on, this thing, it's like a pea shooter, dude. It's going to do nothing. I don't care if V2 has no health, okay? This thing's still going to do nothing. 0% of 0 is still 0. You get me? You feel me? All the damage comes from parrying in this fight. This weapon is kinda just buns. So anyway, we kill that guy, I'm sure he's not gonna come back later or anything. And we end off Limbo 8 minutes into our timer, which means that that thing I said about the levels taking longer the further we go on, yeah, this layer only took 3 minutes, which means I lied. We start last off strong by immediately going the wrong way. Once we realise that this is not a P% run, we go through the secret exit and skip the entire level, not touching a single enemy. 2-2 on the other hand actually does have some interesting tech to go with it. We Knuckle Blast Explosion to destroy the power block through the wall. We do some sick aiming to hit the other two power boxes. We then do a Slam Storage to completely skip the Spiral Staircase, and we just kind of go around the map and then load it from behind to skip the Rail Cannon. I don't know why this is still in the game. I feel like this should have been patched with Ultra Revamp, but okay. My bad. I have an irrational hatred of 2-3, and I know it's irrational. I just don't like this level. I never have. I've never liked it. I don't know. Something about it. I don't like the way it looks at me, so I'm going straight to 2-4, where I immediately don't clip out of bounds and skip the hand fight. I don't know why I didn't do that either, I just forgot about it, I guess. But then I had to sit there and do the entire hand fight with just the default piercer. This is 400% speed. I didn't have 400% speed while I was doing this. The actual Minos boss fight is very standard. I mean, most of your damage in this boss fight comes from parrying his punches anyway, so, in his mouth we go. In total, Lust took me another 6 minutes to complete, which brings our total up to 14 minutes. We're not even through Act 1, and I am a quarter of the way through my time, so either I suck at the game, or an hour is a lot less time than I thought it was when I arbitrarily set it as my time limit for this video. Thankfully, Gluttony only has 2 levels, and only one of them is a real level, the other one's a wet fart. So 3-1 starts out reasonably interesting. You know, you got a Mind Flare, you got like 4 Cerberuses, you got that one bone room that you can skip over. I actually feel like this level is kind of underrated. I don't know, I feel like I underrate it as well. Like, I don't ever think about this level when I think about levels that I like, but then I play the level, I'm like, huh, that's a pretty good level. There's nothing super interesting like tech-wise in this level, I just wanted to say, hey, I am a 3-1 enjoyer, personally. 3-2 is an interesting level, because I can't do the skip, which means I have to go through Gabriel's Slip and Slide, or Gabriel's Sphincter. You know, the 2 names that I have dubbed for it personally. And then I have to fight Gabriel, which goes about how you would expect a Gabriel fight to go. That being pretty well. It went pretty well, who would have guessed? So we're now 1/3 of the way through the game. Crazy, I know, we've already done all of Act 1, and it only took me 18 minutes. Which means I am 1/3 of the way through my time. I mean, like, realistically, yeah, duh, but I didn't expect it to be cutting it this close. I'm gonna be real, I thought an hour would be, like, way too much time. I'm kinda cutting it a little bit close here. I don't like how little time I'm having spare. Not a fan. Greed started off really well with my game crashing. No, I'm serious, this wasn't scripted or anything, it actually just crashed here, I don't know what happened. Once my game actually loaded, we immediately skip 4-1 and die in 4-2. Cut that bit out. The Insurrectionist takes a little while because I can't immediately kill it. I suppose I could have lured it over to the glass and insta-killed it, but I didn't. And then we jump over all of 4-3 and just use the soap. I know I've really just glossed over all of Greed here, but that's because I literally skip like 90% of this layer. We don't play 4-1, we don't play half of 4-2, and we don't play 4-3. The only interesting thing about this layer is the V2 rematch, because if you put any sort of challenge run onto this boss fight, it becomes the hardest boss fight in the game for some reason. This entire fight is won pretty much exclusively from me shooting his coins and parrying his bullets. Actually hitting him with this weapon? Yeah, good luck. Good luck. The fight isn't too difficult, it just eats into my time. It probably took the same length of time to beat V2 as it did to beat the rest of Greed, and that is not an exaggeration. By glossing over and literally skipping over most of the layer, Greed is actually the longest layer by far, coming in at 9 minutes long, which means I'm currently at 27 minutes out of an hour into this run. The V2 boss fight and the Insurrectionist boss fight really ate into my time. They were very, very slow and probably about 80% of the entire layer. First thing I did in Wrath was check whether this Out of Bounds was patched in the Auto Revamp update. And yeah, it was. So I have to actually play the level for once, unlike Greed. Wrath is where the enemies start becoming real punching bags with this weapon. Both figuratively and literally, I am punching them more than I'm shooting them because it does more damage at this point. We've got a lot of Virtues, a lot of Cerberuses, and now we've got Sentries thrown into the mix, just to make my day even more enjoyable. The level isn't difficult. I can't use Conduction because I've got no electric weapons, which kind of sucks. But all of the Sentries, and all of the Virtues, and all of the Cerberuses means this takes quite a long time. Now 5-2 is another level where we can skip over most of it. The only real enemies we have to fight are inside the little cabin area, because I don't actually know how to do the skip here. Now those of you in the audience who have been paying attention might have realised that I don't have the marksman, so I can't skip the ferryman fight. And those of you in the audience who are being attentive here might just realise that I made the same joke twice. Ferryman is actually a pretty straightforward fight. You can parry him very easily. He gives you such long windows to parry him. It's kind of insane actually once you realise just how much time you get given to punch this guy in the face. So the fight's more of just a little stumble along the road than anything too difficult. Now 5-3 is another one of those really long levels that Hikita likes to jam-pack into the second half of this game. He really wasn't being considerate of people like me who wanted to beat it in under an hour, but, you know, I digress. The level is absolutely filled with unskippable combat rooms that are absolutely filled with very tanky enemies like Mind Flares and Cerberuses and Virtues and Marie. You get the idea. It's a long level, it's got a lot of rooms, I gotta fight them all. Do you see the problem? This level also, you might be thinking, is where you get the rocket launcher, and you probably sat there like, how are you gonna skip the rocket launcher? You've gotta pick up the rocket launcher to flip the ship around. No you don't. Hikita actually thought about this, which hella respect on my guy right now. He put a button hidden outside the map that you can reach with an explosion to hit this button that's outside the map to flip the ship over without picking up the rocket launcher. My goat. What a guy. So we can continue on our merry way completely rocket launcher-less and actually avoid pretty much every single combat room bar one for this rest of the level, because I guess you have to fight the enemies when the ship is the right way up, but you don't have to fight them when the ship's upside down. I don't know, it's weird. And we go straight on to my favourite boss fight in the game, Leviathan. I like how they tried making him better in the revamp. I say try making him better, they did make him better. I like it more than it was before. That doesn't mean I like it, you know, it's like shining a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of, like, effect I feel like we got here. So anyway, after mentioning how I don't like Leviathan for the 20,000th time, we can finally go over to Heresy and finish Act 2. Wrath took 11 minutes to beat, which means our total time is 38 minutes. So we're essentially 2/3 of the way through this challenge, and we're not at the end of Act 2 yet. It was at this point where I started thinking like, oh damn, I might not actually do this. Uh-oh, I should probably go a little bit faster. Thankfully, Heresy is yet again one real level and one makeout session with Gabriel. And the real level you can skip quite a large chunk of. You can jump into the lava in this room to do a little skip here, and then you can jump over the rest of the level pretty much. I say you can jump over, you can bash your head on the newly added upside down city and get confused for a second. The only real meat and potatoes to this level is the final room, which chucks 2 hideous masses at you and says have fun. I only have the default piercer, and there's no soap this time, so I actually have to sit there and fight the 2 hideous masses, and then fight the swords machine, and then fight the 2 It took a while. It took a little while, let's just say that. I genuinely don't have anything interesting to say about the second Gabriel fight. Once you've played the game for enough time, this becomes one of the easiest fights in the entire game. So I'm gonna just move straight on talking about how long all of this took. Heresy only took me 4 minutes total, which brings the time up to 42 minutes. I am 3/4 of the way through my time. I have 15 minutes to beat all of Violence, and if you know anything about Ultrakill, you'll know that Violence is like half of the game. It's really long, so I'm sat here in my chair 45 minutes into this fucking challenge, and I'm finally starting to go, uh-oh, I might have just wasted all my time. So going into Violence, we've got 15 minutes to complete 4 levels. Should be pretty straightforward, right? Well, 7-1 lives up to being a labyrinth by being one of the longest levels in the game, and is only made longer by the fact that I have no DPS at all. Mannequins, you can one-shot with parrying them. They're fine. They're chillin'. But then you got that one room where you have to kill 2 Cerberuses and like 4 mannequins. Oh my god. It takes longer than it should take to do that. And then you got that other room where they throw a Mind Flare and a Virtue and then like 20 mannequins at you. And then you gotta fight Minotaur. And fighting Minotaur is fine, right? Minotaur's not a very difficult fight. It's just really, really slow. And then you gotta fight Minotaur again. But this time it's actually a little bit faster because you can parry it for quite a lot of damage. But this level, it just keeps going. It keeps going. It took so long. I don't know exactly how long it took. I'll flash up the end screen. It took ages, dude. Time that I do not have. Thankfully, 7-2 is so much better. This level was literally designed so you don't have to fight any enemies if you don't want to, which makes it so much faster. Fun fact, when the level first dropped, where you were supposed to do the challenge was so obscure that it was actually easier for people to realize that this bit of the ceiling didn't have collision, jump out of bounds to do the challenge that way, instead of doing it the intended way, which is breaking this tiny little breakable square. And also, anyone else remember trying to do the challenge back when it dropped and not being able to find this tiny little hole in the ground because the cross wasn't on there yet? Yeah, I remember that. But anyway, the level, super easy. The level is super nice, it's super fast. Here's a little throwback to old Linguini if anyone watching this from like over a year ago at this point. And when I reached the library, I panicked for a little bit, because I haven't done the secret route here in like 6 months, maybe more, so I didn't know if I was going to remember it. But thankfully, my virgin muscle memory took over, and I just immediately remembered exactly where to go, first try. So going into 7-3, I got a little bit cocky. I had 7 minutes to beat 2 levels that aren't very long, so I'm like, right, we're going to make things a little bit interesting, a little bit spicy. Yeah, I just had to go and turn on Marked for Death, didn't I? So instead of letting all the enemies kill each other, I now have to kill every enemy with my complete lack of DPS. And the best part is it was going fine. I was doing well. Until I died in the final room. My hubris caught up to me, what can I say? So now I have gone from being within a pretty comfortable time frame of beating this to... Uh-oh. I fucked up. I don't have any time left. So I had to lock in so hard for these last 2 levels, dude. I didn't even notice that the bongo cat in the corner was unclaimed. That's how hard I was locked in. So it turns out that the final room with Marked for Death, Piercer only, takes a really long time. Who would have guessed? But you know what? We get through there in the end. I don't even know how much time I had left to beat 7-4 at this point. I just knew it wasn't a lot. So obviously we're not going to be playing the entire level here. I don't got time for that. But we also can't take the secret entrance into the Earthmover because I don't have any electric weapons. So I have to fight the security system. Thankfully, you can use the security system against itself. The little mortar dudes do a lot of damage to the security system, so you can beat it pretty quickly even if you have terrible weapons, for example. And then we dive inside, break all the idols, go right up to the brain, and I have to fight the brain. Pretty much exclusively by parrying it. So that's what we do. We parry, we parry, we parry, we break more idols, we parry, we kill it. We rush down. Back down the neck as fast as possible. I know I have 50 seconds in-game to beat it, or else I die. And if I die here, I lose. I don't know if I can do this whole section in 50 seconds with just this weapon. I don't know if that's possible. But you know what? I'm in too deep. So here we go. Right there, right then, I didn't know if I had done the challenge or if I had just wasted an hour of my life. Now I can only promise you that this wasn't scripted. That all I did was start up a timer on my second monitor and begin playing the video game. But when I pulled the timer from my second monitor for all of you to see, I had 59 minutes on the clock. I had only just barely beaten the game with less than a minute to spare. I didn't go into this challenge expecting it to have a close, satisfying finish. I expected it to be pretty easy and for me to have like 10-15 minutes left to spare. But I'm pretty happy I was wrong. If you liked the video, do the thing, click the subscribe button. I never do outros properly on these videos, I usually just cut to black.